Okay. Hola. Buen Camino. I just feel ridiculous saying that because you're at home and nobody, whatever. The long-awaited unpacking of our bags. So, a lot of people have asked for this. What worked? What didn't work? What do you wish that you would have brought with? What do you wish you would have left behind? So we're going to talk about all of it today. And just as a little disclaimer, this is what worked for us on our Camino, the time frame that we went, which was we started mid-March, finished mid-April. So, and also take note, I'm saying this is what worked for us on our Camino because we stayed in private accommodations the entire time.
So we didn't need any sleep stuff.
Correct. So some of the things that are in our bags that we might say we wish that we wouldn't have brought could be something that somebody who is staying in albergues maybe would keep in their bag or pack for it. So I'm just saying that so that you know what worked for us and you know what, if you watched our videos, you already know we stayed in private accommodations the entire time. So off we go. Oh, full transparency, these bags have been sitting in our foyer at
for
the front,
2 weeks.
at the front door.
So part of this video so we can clean up our house.
Right, yeah. They our bags have stayed exactly where we left them the moment that we got home 2 weeks ago. It's 2 weeks to the day that we came home.
Buen Camino.
Buen Camino. It's wild to think that we are 2 weeks removed from our Camino journey. This worked fabulously for me. My hip bag. I have no complaints about mine. Everything that I needed fit in here. This was great. I don't even know what else to say. It was perfect.
What kind is it? Where'd you get it?
It's an Osprey. I don't even know what it is. I can't tell you what the name of it is. I bought it. I talked about that in our packing video. I bought it at a outlet store, like a
Mountain Outfitters or something.
Yeah, in Atlanta. It was a last minute purchase, not long, like maybe 2 weeks before we left or something like that. This was a last minute purchase. This worked great for me. I will use it over and over again. I loved it.
I carried an REI one fanny pack, and I liked the storage. I liked that there's a pocket in the back to put stuff in. I used every aspect of the bag. I even used these little pouches to put some of my water bottles in.
That continued to fall out every time.
Every time I bent over, my gut would push out a bottle. I'll tell you what I didn't like about it is when I wore it like this, I didn't like where it bounced. So I'd kick it off to the side, which when you have it on your hip and you pull it tight, you're kind of making this inside pocket kind of useless just because it's bending. And it was hard for me to get in and out of. So on our next adventure, I'm going to bring this. It's a shoulder bag. You wear it on the front. It's just easier to get in and out of. It doesn't conflict with my backpack. And another problem I was having with this is when I was pulling it off the side and tightening it up, this buckle was laying underneath the buckle of my backpack and it started to give me like little sores. So I definitely want to have the extra storage of some sort of pack, but I'll use a chest bag rather than a fanny pack. Which
I feel like was him choosing what kind of bag that he was going to carry to have things easily accessible was
I used that chest pack like every single day we trained and practiced, and then I brought the fanny pack with. That was dumb.
It was a rough go for him.
Yeah,
I don't know why. One of the MVPs of our trip was, and I think you've already removed yours from your bag, which we removed mine from my bag for travel purposes coming back home, but was this little water bottle holder that sat on the strap of our backpacks.
That's the one piece of gear I got more questions about from anybody.
This was remarkable. I think we should note that we carried our small water bottles here, and Jason carried all of our
1.5 bottles of water in the side, and then we fill that up.
Yes. And I say that Jason carried all of our 1.5 bottles of water to refill he carried all of our heavy water the entire time.
I think it's also worth noting that when we trained for this and practiced with our gear, we had bladder bags in our backpacks. And I liked it because you always had 2 liters of water right there to drink. But the problem is when anyone who hiked or backpacked knows, you got that liter bag shoved away inside your backpack. When you got to fill, you got to take everything out. And it was a pain. So that turned out to be a great deal.
Bladder would not have worked for us.
A bladder would not have worked for us, just for us. I got that on the Garage Growing Gear website, and I'll share a link in the comments.
Yeah. The next MVP for me of this trip, which there are going to be a lot of really great things that I'm so glad that we had, was our 6 Moon Designs. Is that what it is?
Yeah, 6 Moon Designs. Again,
umbrella.
I got it on the Garage Growing Gear website.
This thing, I used my umbrella far more than Jason. I used it on sunny days. I used it on rainy days. I love this umbrella.
It does have SPF protection too, so that's why it worked in the sun.
This thing, on those really hot days, in the very beginning when I was getting fried by the sun, this thing it was so hot on those days. This was amazing. So if you're going in the summertime,
definitely get one.
I would highly recommend this umbrella. This thing was
one thing I would recommend is, for whatever reason, I ended up halfway through the hike or whatever carrying both sets of trekking poles. And when I would open this umbrella, this was just a minor aggravation. You know, you'd have the umbrella up, and it kept hitting my trekking poles. So they do make a bigger one. I would probably go with the bigger one because I think it would.
I will say that I do wish sometimes that we had that the umbrella was a little bit bigger. That's my only complaint about this size umbrella is.
I think the bigger one would clear the trekking poles, and it's going to give you more coverage in the rain. And the sun.
Because I mean, sometimes when it's raining hard, there isn't anything that's going to keep your feet from getting wet, but. With the size of this one, the rain fell right, like as I was walking, the rain would fall directly right on my feet. So that was kind of a bummer.
So I'm going to talk about this real quick. This is not an exciting thing at all, but we, as we mentioned in our videos, we lined our bags with trash compactor liners.
Saved our lives.
Nothing in our bag ever got wet the entire time.
Not ever. And our bags were soaked.
Because we didn't wear we had this, so we didn't use the outside cover for the backpacks.
Which I would far prefer this over having the giant cover over my pack.
Yep, it was nice having this because you could still access the top, the zipper on the inside and the zipper on the outside. And we never put anything in here that couldn't get wet. We'd have some snacks in Ziploc bags or something, whereas if you had that big cover on it, it'd be a pain to get in it. So I highly recommend the trash bag liner to keep your bag dry.
That worked out so well. Yeah. These were, I think, a last minute purchase.
Yeah, they were like $5 a piece on Amazon.
Little sit pads.
We use these a lot.
This one's yours. That one's mine.
How do you know?
Because mine's yellow. Mine was yellow.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this one's yours. Anyway, we use these like pop it a squat off on the side of the road.
Yep. So I would definitely recommend a sit pad of some sort.
Yeah, it was kind of small. There were times where maybe I wish it was a little bit bigger, but also it worked great. Loved that. This was a total waste.
Yeah,
for us.
For us.
For us.
The only time we really used my towel is when we were popping my blisters on the bed. And
yes.
I don't want to get their white linens dirty, so we would put this down to pop blisters. But we
didn't use my towel once.
We never use it for the purpose of drying anything.
No. So. Again, that's just one thing that didn't work for us. I've talked about this at length. It's like beating I'm not even going to say, because that'll probably, but the
Kula cloth.
I
don't understand why they don't sell them over there. It's like an American thing. Any person we saw that had one was American, and that would be like the perfect thing for them to sell at like the Camino check-in office in St. John PV Park. Yeah,
and I just, like I have mentioned, I just hung it off the front of my pack, and whenever I had to go to the bathroom, I just pulled it off. Pee, okay? Whenever I had to go pee, somebody was asking, no, you don't use this for going number 2, and if you did, you've got one wipe.
Yeah.
So,
you're in a bad place if you're using that
to
go number 2.
I fought that hard the first several days. And then after I used it the first time, I was like, I never went back to the toilet paper. I mentioned that in one of the videos. It's like, I got sick and tired of packing out the toilet paper, which is disgusting. It's disgusting. And this is not. And you just wash it in the sink every day. Sure, there were days that like we would get into our room and be so tired, and you know, I'd wake up the next morning and be like, oh man, I forgot to wash my pee rag, but I'd only used it once the day before. Whatever. Wash it the next night. No problem. These were my town shoes. We don't have our sneakers anymore.
No, they are still in Spain somewhere.
In a landfill or something. Or who knows, maybe somebody's wearing
Maybe the next pilgrims grabbed them. I don't know.
So these were my town shoes, the Birkenstock, just, you know, super lightweight, which they worked out fine. I sometimes wish that I would have had a more substantial shoe, but I don't know what else it would have been. I wouldn't have carried around another pair of sneakers. These were super lightweight. They got the job done. It just, maybe I should have purchased black. These were loud, and I feel like people stared at me because of them.
I don't have mine, but I use Crocs, and I get a lot of flack for wearing Crocs, but they were so comfortable after hiking.
Yeah.
I will say, I think if I were to do it all over again, and this is where her and I might differ a little bit, I probably would have brought another pair of tennis shoes.
You carried another pair of tennis shoes around with you for 3/4 of our walk.
For 3/4 of our walk, I carried an extra pair of shoes because I was afraid mine were going to fall apart. And I just think there was situations where it'd start raining and we'd have to kind of scurry back to our room, and you know, you're wearing Crocs and Birkenstocks. So it would have been nice to have tennis shoes. I think next time I'll skip the Crocs and I'll bring tennis shoes. You know, we weren't in albergues where you're in and out of public showers and stuff where you would wear them.
Right.
So.
I'm going to interject here and say, because, this is my one like learning takeaway, and I haven't even shared this with Jason yet, from doing the Camino, is, so like he said, we were, I don't know, a quarter of the way through maybe a third of the way through our walk when our shoes were showing drastic signs of wear at an early stage, right? We shared about that. And I was a little bit concerned about it, but I don't think I was as concerned about it as Jason was, just because my shoes, they weren't causing me any kind of fits on my feet at the time, even though like the foam and the fabric around the heel, the backside of my shoe was completely worn away in some areas. It wasn't affecting the way my foot felt in my shoes. So I wasn't as concerned about it as Jason was, but I felt panic about it because I felt like he was feeling panicked about the shoes.
I was panicked because I had 6 blisters up to that point. And I'm like, I have not been prone to blisters my entire life. I'm like, what is causing these blisters? Is it the shoes falling apart? What is it? So I wanted to have a backup. I didn't care that I had to carry the extra 1.5 pounds worth of shoes.
So I guess, and like it was around that same time where I had worn a hole through one of my socks. And that I was also like a little bit of a cause for concern. But here's what I want to say. My one takeaway is like, people always talk about like the Camino provides, and maybe the Camino didn't necessarily provide, but this was a learning experience for me. Those shoes got us through all 560 miles.
They did make it.
Of our walk. The shoes made it. Like we used the My Medic blister tape to tape up the areas of our shoes that were real bad. And my socks got me through the 560 miles. Even though both of my darn tough socks, I wore holes through both of them, they still got me through the 560 miles. So we were over here trying to control, and I mean, going so far as like having our friend back here at home put a package together of more blister tape, of socks for me, because I purchased some socks when we arrived in Burgos and they were terrible. So it's like, sometimes you just have to let go, like, because everything is going to work out. That was a huge takeaway for me that I didn't share with you, but I think about it a lot. It's like, you can try to hang on and control, but there are some things that are just out of your control, and sometimes you have to just let it be.
Let it be.
And it all worked out in the end. So, I don't know.
So our bags are packed a little bit different now. So
yeah.
Now we're going to kind of get all over the place. But
a little bit,
We're going to just keep rolling.
Well, sorry. There's two things in here. So these are my leftover tampons, you know.
You can never have too many Ziploc bags in your bag.
Yes!
I mean, for sandwiches.
Mine are still in here. Like, yeah, leftover. Yes. This is, and there were more in here.
Mine are almost gone.
Yeah.
We just kept pulling out of mine.
Yes. We packed a lot of extra Ziploc bags. That is one thing that I would say, pack extra Ziploc bags. Yeah. Because
you're going to use them.
You will
you won't regret having them.
Making sure that your food stays dry on a rainy day, or putting your phone in, or whatever. Pick something. You want to take your croissant to go with you, and you want to put it in a bag. Like, that was really smart, Jason. So, yes. Okay, tampons. Our
we use that every
slim
day.
bag. We use this thing every single day.
Laundry, grocery store.
Yes. I would carry my hip bag inside of this because I hated carrying that around my waist when we were going out to like go get something to eat, or to, you know, go to the grocery store, or to go do.
Well, and you had worn it all day, so the last thing is put it back on.
Yes, but to adjust it to wear it across my body was such a pain in the backside, because then you have to adjust it back to wear around your head. I would just put it inside this bag. This thing is. Great. The nano sling bag, or any kind of nano bag, is so lightweight, really perfect for a trek like this. This was my little packet of, like, this I would say was luxury items. And, this was some CBD ointment. I used this quite a bit on my ankles, especially in the beginning. Ankles, knees, I didn't use this even once. This was Breathe essential oil. My Whisper essential oil, this one I used quite a bit because it acted a little bit as kind of like a perfume, and it just made me feel like normal. The Digesten for the upset stomach. We never once had upset stomach.
It's crazy.
Or like indigestion.
Yeah.
Never.
Until we got home.
Until we got home.
Of course.
Yeah. And I think probably it's because we just didn't, I don't know, we didn't
have any problems.
We didn't have any problems. Yeah. I probably wouldn't, I wouldn't pack a lot of these things again. I would bring this though, this Deep Blue stick. It's a topical analgesic. Is that how you say it?
I don't know. It's like a Bengay or something.
Yeah. It's sort of like the same thing as my CBD ointment. These two things were, you should have something like that. And then the last thing in this bag is my Clary Calm essential oil, which I did use during that time of the month. It's like I wouldn't have left home without that. But some of the other things I wouldn't bring again. So.
All right. So I'm going to talk about a couple things here. I brought a lot of gloves. Carissa pointed out how many gloves I brought. So.
I had no idea until we were coming home how many gloves he had.
I did. So I brought these mechanic style gloves to use with my trekking poles, and I did start getting a blister on my hand.
You sure did.
From the trekking poles when I was not wearing these. The problem with these is they're the opposite of water resistant. They're like little sponges, and they would get so wet and so cold that I quit wearing them. I brought these.
You never wore those once.
Matter of fact, I sent these ahead. I sent these ahead the day before it got cold. I wish I would have had them, but yeah.
I didn't realize that.
I sent those ahead, and then I got a pile of stuff here I ended up buying. But at the decathlon, we bought this pair of gloves for me. They're water resistant, and these.
Was towards the end. You got those in Lyon.
I got these in Lyon, and they ended up being great for me. So, and the funny thing is, they were real cheap. They were like $10 at Decathlon. So, get some water resistant gloves if you're gonna bring gloves.
Yeah. Okay. So moving along to clothes, I'm just gonna unpack everything because I feel like. Wait, what's next in your bag?
I don't know.
Oh.
I got some clothes. I'll let you keep unpacking like you do.
Okay, so one thing that I will say that if you're doing this hike with a significant other, this is one thing I really appreciated that Jason did. So this was my electronics bag, which I thought his was the same.
Mine was gray.
His was gray. But so this was like all my chargers went in this bag. Our headlamps.
Headlamps.
You
need to have the headlamps.
You need to have the headlamps.
When we had the time change and the clock moved by an hour,
you need to have the headlamps.
We had to have them for the first hour in the morning.
There weren't a lot of days that we used these. Maybe a handful of times that we used these because we left later in the morning a lot of times.
We did, and you may find you need it more if you're staying in a burgay.
Because you have to leave. You have to leave those.
You have to check out early, and you're not going to just flip the lights on and have 25 people be
right.
Up, so.
But all that to say, I do not like walking in the morning when it's dark out. That was not my favorite thing, and I would make it a point to not do that as much as possible. It's just like there's so much, you miss so much. You miss out on so much beauty, I feel like. Sure, there is some peacefulness to leaving early in the morning when it's super dark like that, but anyway, all the other charger stuff I've unpacked some of it, and I think a lot of it is in Jason's.
And those bags are water resistant. They got like a thin layer of plastic on the inside. I would definitely use those again. We just got them on Amazon.
What I'm saying about these bags is Jason got us matching colors. So like this was our Toiletries bag, and his is also yellow. And then we had it's an orange. I think Jason referred to it as red, but that was our first aid bag. And it just was nice to know, like, if I had to go into his bag to find something, which I never did, except for the first aid bag, which he always kept on the top lid, so it was easy to access. But yeah, it was nice to have bags like this that matched.
Yep.
So
it made sense.
It made sense. Yeah. I'll talk about I used most of my toiletries. There were some things that I wish that I wouldn't have brought with. Like, for instance, I had SPF, just regular SPF for us, but I had I think actually I put it in Jason's bag. That's the only thing that I didn't use. It was a tinted SPF for my face that I thought I was going to want to have. I used it once and I hated it and never used it again. Wish I wouldn't have brought it. It's extra weight that you just don't need, right? Like, I never used this hat once.
See, I use this hat a lot. I didn't use it when it rained because it would get wet and then just be dripping down on me. But when it was sunny out, I used it every day. So I would definitely bring another hat like this.
I don't know why I was resistant to putting this on. It probably would have been great on the sunny days. I never used it. Obviously, during the summer, you're gonna want a hat. So like I said, this is just what worked and what didn't work for us. Okay, since you were talking about mittens and stuff, I brought with a hat and mittens. This is what I packed with. And at first I was feeling foolish because that first week it was really hot, and then it got so cold that I had to buy these Trek Mates, these gloves. They're not water resistant, but it was just an extra layer underneath my mittens, and I wore these all the time on the days when it was cool, but like warm enough to. Sometimes I would wear just my gloves, sometimes I would wear just my mittens, but I found that my hands were not warm enough with just my mittens. Wore my hat all the time. Ended up buying a buff, a merino wool buff, because it was so cold, and this was so nice on the days when it was so cold, so windy. I would pull this up over my head, like over my hat, to block the wind. It was that cold. And then put the hood on my rain jacket up. So that's one thing that we did buy was gloves and a buff for me. And
I brought a buff with too, and
bring a buff.
She ended up buying me another buff because I put one down around my neck and then one over my head. And here's a fun fact about Spain, and it seems like Europe in general, is when you get to your hotels, they don't have washcloths.
Oh.
So like after a long day of hiking, your legs all dirty, you want to scrub yourself. I actually started using this one in the shower to like scrub myself, like as a washcloth. So definitely bring a buff. Mine are not merino wool, and they started to stink. Her merino wool one, I don't think ever stunk.
No.
So I would definitely get a good one. Get a merino wool.
Yeah. Okay, I'm on to my bag with my underwear and socks. So I brought 2 bras. One just regular sports bra, like nylon material. I would not recommend this. I brought this just like for comfort for myself because I know that I like this bra. It's snug and I like it. The smell. I can't, it was
terrible.
I would not recommend this. If you can find this bra right here, this the brand is Branwyn, BRANWYN. I'll have Jason link to this bra for anybody that's interested. Sure, this bra is a little bit spendy, but it's merino wool. This sucker, I could wear this for a week without washing it, no smell. And the sweat would dry so fast. Not the case with this. So that's my takeaway. I will only be bringing merino wool undergarments from now on.
You get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for. That's that. I brought 3 pairs of underwear, if you guys remember me talking about it. 2 pairs of ex officio, 1 pair of Branwyn. The ex officio, I just liked the way they fit me better. It was just comfort for me. It's just a little brief underwear. And so was the Branwyn, but I don't know. I just liked the way the ex officio felt. I did wear all 3 of them. I just, personal preference in the way that they feel. Hardly ever wore my thong, a couple of times. Didn't need to bring that with. These, my 2 pair of Darn Tough socks, I sent away to Darn Tough for the warranty, so I don't have them here. That is one thing that I will say that I wish maybe I would have brought another pair of socks. So I only brought 2, and I wish that I would have had 3. This was a pair of socks. Actually, I think it came as a 3-pack.
Oh, is this the ones you bought over there?
Yes.
It was a 3-pack.
That were terrible, and I kept 1 pair and left 2 pair at one of the places that we stayed. They were brand new. I hadn't worn them. I kept the 1 pair that I wore. And these were nice. One day it was really cold somewhere where we were staying, and I put these on to wear to bed. So
yeah. I had ex officio boxer briefs too. I don't need to get into underwear too much.
He loves those.
I love them.
He loves those. They're expensive. Those are his favorite underwear.
Yeah, they're good underwear.
Also, I think it's fair to mention, no smell with the underwear.
No smell with the underwear. I'm going to talk about the underwear again in a minute when we pull out some of our clothes.
Okay.
So I love toe socks. I started out wearing just these Ingingy toe socks just by themselves, and I was getting blisters and they were starting to pill and they were kind of getting funky. So I switched to, and I brought these I wore the Ingingy liners with a pair of Darn Toughs on top of them, and you could see that in the videos. The day that I started doing that, my blisters stopped. So I don't know if it was a coincidence. I don't know what it was, but I will forever wear toe sock liners with regular socks on the top.
And for me, I was fine with I only developed 1 blister towards the end on my pinky toe. Otherwise, I was fine. And I just only wore my Darn Tough socks. That's it.
And I will mention that we use these 6 Moon Design cube packers. They're extremely light. I'd see some people unpacking their bags on the side trail and they're just pulling out article of clothing after article just shoved in their bag. And I can't live like that. I can't function like that. So I will definitely continue to use cube packing systems just to keep everything organized.
So convenient. It was so nice.
Very, very nice to have.
Yes. Okay. So here I am with my clothes. I feel like we have a lot to talk about with this. I'm typically with pajamas. I brought this pajama shirt and I'm gonna burn it. Honestly, I'm burning it. I hated having this. I wish I would. I wear 2-piece pajamas always. I brought this for convenience because 1 piece and I just thought easier for packing. I never wear pajamas like this. I don't know why I brought this with. I hated wearing this. I wanted my 2-piece pajamas so bad. And Jason offered to stop and buy some in every town that we were in. And I'm like, no, I hated these. So I know some people talk about how they don't bring pajamas. They just sleep in their clothes. That wasn't an option for me. That's one of those, a luxury item. Fine, I don't care. I'll pack the extra clothes. You can find lightweight pajamas. I wish that I would have brought 2-piece pajamas. So that's that. Personal preference. If you want to sleep in your clothes, I have no problem with that. It just doesn't work for me. This tank top, wore it almost every day that it was warm out. Well, that's a lie. I am glad that I had a tank top. some people don't like to wear, some people like to have long sleeves with a backpack so it doesn't rub their arms or shoulders. That didn't bother me at all with that tank top. The problem was the sun on the hot days.
You were burning.
Yeah. So a lot of days I did wear my tank top when it was sunny, and the shorts. The shorts were great. There were times that I wish that I had 2 pairs of shorts because I only brought one. That's one thing that I will say. And you know, like I said, for this time of year, that's what worked for us. If you're going in like the heat of the summer, you're probably going to want to have more than 1 pair of shorts. If I wasn't wearing my tank top with my shorts, I was wearing this long sleeve merino wool from REI. Love this thing. And honestly, when I was not a believer until I experienced it myself. It's amazing how cool merino wool will keep you when it's hot and how warm that it will keep you when it's cold.
Magic.
So, yeah.
All right, so I'll talk about a couple things here. I won't talk about what I screwed up just yet. So I had these convertible pants where you could take the legs off. I'll definitely do that again because it would start out cool in the morning and then it wasn't long and as hot, so I was unzipping the legs. So for me personally, convertible pants are perfect. I like that the pockets were at a good location on the front for where my backpack was sitting. I had good pockets in the back, so pockets are very important for me. Where do you put your phone? Where do you put the little rubber feet on your trekking poles? Where do you put your candy wrapper? So pockets for me are very important. Yeah. I got these shorts. I wore these. I think I wore these quite a bit.
You did.
Yeah, they were comfortable. They're Prana shorts. Like I said, good pockets. I like that it has like a built-in little belt, so I didn't have to wear my belt with it. But I'm going to tell you here, and I said earlier I was going to come back to the underwear thing. I had these REI liner shorts, so they got a built-in liner, and they're just super lightweight, and I have learned that I like to walk without any underwear on. It's just comfortable.
I don't know, like, what rock he's been living under, but, like, because he owns shorts that have a liner, and he's, like, so resistant to the liner.
Well, because I've always wore the liner shorts with underwear, which is dumb.
I don't understand it.
Anyways.
My shorts have a liner.
Anyways.
I never wear underwear with my shorts because they have underwear built into the shorts. It's a recipe for disaster.
You're interrupting me.
Yeah, you're like making yourself extra hot, like when you think the liner was for.
When we went home, I immediately went to REA and bought another pair of these shorts with the liner.
The only problem with the shorts for him is there's no pockets.
There was one little tiny pocket in the back.
I mean side pockets, you know.
So the ones that I bought had little side pockets, not big enough to hold my cell phone, but still. So I will definitely use these in the future. I prefer to hike without underwear. It's very freeing.
With a liner.
With a liner.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just not out there flapping in the wind.
I loved those shorts too. Everybody would look at Jason like he had 3 heads and was crazy because those are kind of loud shorts. But
I got them for $15 on clearance.
I loved them. I loved them on him. They were really nice looking.
Packing cute.
Okay, so I think like all my cool weather clothes I have already talked about, so we can move on to like warm weather stuff.
Okay, well, let me finish this then.
Yep.
So I hiked in these Patagonia shirts, and again, I bought them because they were on clearance and cheap. They were nice, but after 5 hours, they smelled terrible.
Yep, they sure did. I will say.
And they're not merino wool.
So I will say that I think that's a mistake. That's a hard lesson for us. Mistake that we made. I would. I lied to you. I'm not done talking about my one. I have one more warm weather, but for the future. We will not be bringing these. For future, we will get short sleeve merino wool t-shirts and more merino wool. Whatever it is, merino wool.
And I spent most of my time actually with my long sleeve on, even when it was hot, because I don't like to wear sunblock. So I would put this on so that I didn't have to wear sunblock.
He says that, but he's got like most baller farmer.
It's pretty impressive.
Okay, here's one thing that I never wore once. And I know myself. I know better. I never should have even packed this. I never should have even bought this. I don't wear t-shirts. I mean, I'm wearing a t-shirt right now.
Liar.
It's a rare occasion that I wear t-shirts. I don't like them. I'm so specific about them. So somebody's probably going to be gifted this, but yeah, I mean, because merino wool is where it's at.
All right.
Moving right along.
So where I really screwed up was my town clothes. I don't even have them sitting here, but I had a pair of black shorts and like a black t-shirt, Lululemon shirt. The problem is I would wear my pants during the day, and I would wear my long sleeve merino wool shirt, and I would wear my jacket, and it would all be soaked. So then we would get into town and we'd have to go do laundry and go have dinner, and it was freezing out and I had to wear shorts and a t-shirt. So we ended up going to the decathlon, and I bought another pair of pants.
Okay, but this also goes back to, it was really cold.
It was colder than we were prepared for.
You were not, you
So,
weren't prepared.
I bought these pants at Decathlon. I'll definitely use them again. I like all the pockets it has, where they have the pockets. They're very comfortable. I will tell you the sizes in the UK are way different. Spain are way different. These are like a 40, and that's not what I wear.
Yeah,
so try them on. If you go there, try the clothes on.
Yeah.
So I like the pants. The pants were definitely good. I ended up buying another base layer shirt just so that
merino wool,
so that I had a pair of pants and a shirt to wear when we would go out. And then I'm actually embarrassed by this. I brought this base layer. These are from TJ Maxx. They're spider, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna look so awesome with these underneath my shorts. And we go, it looks so cool with the stitching. These things were awful. As a matter of fact, they're going in the trash after this video. So the Decathlon also had merino wool pants, so I bought these.
So I had I wore these leggings a lot. When I wasn't wearing my shorts, I was wearing these leggings. They were great, and they worked out very well for me. Where I failed myself, it was, you don't know what you don't know. We didn't know what to expect. It was much colder than what we were anticipating. So I had these leggings, and then I thought, well, if it gets really cold, I have these pants. These were just Amazon pants. They're super lightweight. There's nothing to them. But I thought, oh, it won't be so cold that I'll need anything warmer than, my leggings and then putting these pants on over them. Wrong. I can't remember what town we were in. I could tell you where we stayed. I can see it, but I can't remember the name of the city. But it's the same place where I bought my gloves. It was so cold that day. I was freezing. I ended up buying, and I wish I would have brought my pants from REI that are like this, which I thought about bringing, but I felt foolish because I thought I was bringing pants that would be way too warm and I'd never wear them. These are, I don't know, the brand is Ice Pack. They're like
You wore them a lot.
I wore them a lot. They've got like a light fleece lining on the inside. I would put on my leggings and then put these on over my leggings and still be cold sometimes. So I wore these a lot. They're water resistant, not waterproof. So yeah, I did get wet in those, but I was so happy to have those. Another thing that I purchased was an additional, I only had one base layer. I have this one black merino wool that I've already talked about. I picked this up at a Decathlon store. I can't even remember where it was at. I think it was in Burgos. Maybe,
sure.
Yeah. Anyways, whatever, it doesn't matter. I wore this all the time. In fact, a lot of times on the really cold days would wear this base layer, and then my, I brought this jacket with. It's a middleweight jacket. I would put this jacket on over it. That's what I wore most days. And then my rain jacket on top of that. That's what I wore most days when it was really cold. So we failed ourselves with packing for cold weather.
So here's the one base layer shirt that I did bring with. I would wear that a lot. And then I had the same kind of midweight jacket that Carissa had. It's a Solomon jacket. Very comfortable. I like these little deals on the sleeve that you put your
thumb holes.
You put your thumbs through, just to so it doesn't ride up or anything. So it's just, I don't know. I don't have to have it, but it's nice to have. I definitely liked having the hood because I could have my I could have my
Buff.
my buff like over my ears or over my neck, and I could pull this up over. So if you're gonna bring some sort of midweight jacket, I would recommend having a hood on it.
These were my pants to wear when we were in town. They were great. I wouldn't change that. They were wonderful. And then this was a little top that I brought to wear with my pants. I had another black long sleeve. I don't know where it is. The first day I bought this sweatshirt in St. John, and I wore this the entire time that we were walking the Camino. So
not lightweight.
Not lightweight, but I was nice and warm, and I was so happy to have this sweatshirt, and now it's a great souvenir.
Now you have it.
I wore this almost every day that we were in town, so I'm super happy to have that.
So here's the rain jacket I had. This is another change I would make. I think
Oh yeah.
this rain jacket's a North Face. I think it's best suited for the trunk of my car. If I have to do it all over again, which I will do another walk again, I asked Carissa when we were out walking, I was like, if you had no budget for one item, like I said, go get one item for your bag, whatever it is that you want. Don't even look at the price tag. What would you get? I don't know what she said. I can't remember what she said. She didn't say what I wanted her to say.
I didn't really understand the question.
I said rain jacket. So the next,
and I was totally on board after he said that.
I will find the best rain jacket that I can find, and I will buy it, because the rain jacket would fail in the rain, and then your base layer jacket, or I'm sorry, your midweight jacket was wet, your base layer was wet, your t-shirt was wet, and you were freezing. Get a good rain jacket.
Yeah, I can't say the same. This was a great rain jacket for me, but I used the umbrella a lot as well. I will say my sleeves down here got soaked, like it got soaked through. My rain jacket held up much better than Jason's. I'll say that. One thing that did happen on mine, and you can't really see it, I've scrubbed it and washed it like 15 times. But the yellow on the back of my backpack transferred to the back of my jacket, which was a bummer. So here's what I will say, as much as I loved having a light colored jacket, I just liked the way that it looked. I wouldn't do this again because of the transfer of color.
All right, so let me talk about a few of my bags here. I don't really need to get into the first aid bag. We didn't bring enough Band-Aids or tape because we were getting to the point where we had to cut them in half. I brought this little cork ball as a foot massager. I won't bring it again. I mean, it's not heavy.
I felt like you used that a lot. I never used it once, but
I didn't use it enough to. Sometimes I use it just to justify it in my brain that I brought it. Toiletries bag. The only thing I wouldn't bring next time is my shaving cream.
There's one thing I want to talk about in your shaving bag.
I don't know if you even heard me.
Nice little slip. Can you link this for everyone?
Oh yeah, I'll do that.
This was another MVP of our trip. We used bar soap. Jason's friend Scott recommended that we get this Matador soap pouch.
Bag, yeah, it was great.
This thing, oh my gosh. I'm going to be taking it out of this actually and putting it in our regular travel bag because this was incredible. Kept our bar of soap not slimy and disgusting. I don't know. This thing's magic. Magic.
So a couple of electronic things to point out is we brought these 20,000 milliamp hour chargers.
Gosh.
I only used it a couple times.
I never used mine once.
Because I had it. I never needed it. And these are about a pound.
And honestly, nobody should need that because you're somewhere every night where you can, unless you're camping on the Camino.
You're gonna always be somewhere there's electricity. So I mean, if you're worried about it, maybe get like a 5,000 milliamp. It'll charge your phone once or whatever. But I would not bring these again. And then just talking about converters real quick. When we were doing our training hikes, we would actually pack all this stuff up into our bags and we would go out and hike. We started out with this converter, which has the fixed prongs on it. Well, this was poking through all the bags. And I was like, I don't want it poking through things and things getting wet. So we ended up buying a converter a convertible converter? I don't know what you want to call it, but
it's an adapter.
Yeah, an adapter. The prongs stow. So I would definitely get one of those. It just was better in the bag.
That was super convenient.
Yep. And then one other thing to talk about is I brought this Leatherman knife. It's kind of heavy. I mean, it's not over a pound. It's 7 ounces. I never needed the pliers. The only thing I used it for was I used the knife to cut the Band-Aids and the blister tape in half. If I had to do it all over again, I would bring a Swiss Army knife that has scissors on it. A scissors and a knife would be all that you need. So I do have a Swiss Army knife that has a corkscrew in it too.
Never needed it.
We never needed it, but you may or may not have had a little wine if you had a corkscrew. But you don't need a big heavy Leatherman like this. But you'd probably need something with the scissors if you're going to be cutting Band-Aids or buying clothes and cutting tags off. So, and then we did bring this. This is the Sea to Summit clothesline. We didn't use it a ton.
No, like
I used it like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
If we stayed at a hotel that had like a little tiny balcony, and we were washing like some underwear and quick dry T-shirts, we would hang it out there. But it weighs almost nothing, and it fits in my pocket of my backpack perfect. So I would bring it again.
I think that's it.
I'm going to talk about my bag real quick. I'm going to talk about what I liked about my bag. This outside pocket here, I don't know that I could use a backpack that didn't have an outside pocket.
Yeah.
You got this stretchy pocket, and it would
shoved a lot of stuff in there a lot of times.
A lot of times.
Every day.
Yeah. And it would turn into, she would shove her stuff in the back of mine, and I would shove mine in the back of hers just because it's convenient.
Like the mittens were coming off, and the hat was coming off, and then the hat would go back on, and then the mittens would go back on, and like we would just stow that stuff in one of the other's bags, or like you pull off your jacket,
you would just shove it in there.
Yeah. Also snacks, fruits we would put in there, apples, bananas, oranges, that kind of thing went there, so it was easy to grab.
And this is going to be another thing that's not going to seem like a big deal to a lot of people, but if you're hiking with a significant other, a friend, if you're hiking with somebody, and get your terminology together for your backpack. Because we had a few days of frustration where I would say, she'd be like, hey, where is that? I go, it's in the top of my backpack. So, and what I meant was, it's in the top of my backpack. Right here, in the top.
The same thing would happen to me when I would say it to him, though. I'd be like, it's in the top of my backpack, meaning like, it's right in here, and he would be in this thing.
Yeah,
and
so when she would say in the top, she would mean inside on the top of my bag, and when I said in the top of my bag, I meant I was right. It's in the top of my bag. So just get your terminology together. That's another reason we use those bags that were the same color, so I could say, hey, get my toiletries. She just knew to grab the yellow bag. It just made it easier. And then I would definitely recommend, at some point, I used every carabiner that was in my bag. They weigh almost nothing, so throw some carabiners on your bag, and you're going to use them for something.
Yeah, I loved my bag. My bag is the same as his, just a little bit smaller. So I have the only thing, like these side pockets, it would drive me bonkers because your bags are packed so, like you've got so much stuff in your bags, and your bag is packed to the limit, and then it's pushing out the side, and then we would have water stuffed in the sides, and then Jason's like trying to jam the trekking poles in, or when you're trying to get them out, that was whatever. It's like first world problems. That was aggravated. I don't know how you get around that. Stowing the trekking poles, we always had to put them in the side pockets, which was kind of a pain in the.
And the reason she says that is the trekking poles the handles are supposed to go down here, and then they lash on up here somewhere. But what would happen is the poles would start to slide down, and then they'd be bumping into your butt, and that's annoying. So we ended up, like she said, just shoving them in the side pocket.
Anyway, everything worked out. Really, everything worked out great. I can't really think of anything other than like clothing items that we talked about that we purchased along the way. I can't really think of anything that I wish I would have brought with. You could sit here and say, oh, shoes. I'm not going to carry for 400 miles an extra pair of shoes. Like my shoes got me through.
I would have.
Yeah, I would not.
The one thing I wish I would have brought with, and this is purely a luxury item, and this is just me and my curiosity, is I wish I would have brought like a tiny pair of binoculars.
That's right. You did say that several times.
You would look like out at this mountain, and there would be just like you could see a house in the middle of the mountain without anything for miles. And I was like, I want to look at that. That looks cool. So I wish I would have brought a little pair of binoculars. I would have used them a lot. It probably would have forced me to take a few more breaks, which probably wouldn't have been a bad idea.
Oh yeah, people were asking like what we would do differently, and I don't know if you talked about this but like the planning, like people asked if we took any rest days, and we didn't. We never took a rest day. We couldn't make ourselves take a rest day because it was, I'll let you talk about it.
I don't know what you want to say.
Oh, you were talking about, you said how you would plan it differently and
okay. So I use the Boing Camino app to, if you do the paid version, which is just donation, you can donate $1. It gives you a custom route planner in there. If you have the Boing Camino app, you know what I'm talking about. I probably would have done a bunch of like 16 mile day, 16 mile day, 16 mile day, and then maybe do like a 10 mile day. Rather than do 0 miles, because the days that we got into town at like noon or 1, it was great.
Which were the days when we did like 10 or 12 miles.
Yeah. So I would still not take a rest day, but I would definitely purposely plan some shorter days, especially if you're getting somewhere, you're like, oh, I want to go see this cathedral, or I want to go see this museum. Maybe that's a city that you plan to get, do 10 miles into, so you have all day to hang out.
But, and so in the future, that is something that we have learned that perhaps we would, like looking back, maybe we would have done that different. No, I lost my train of thought. For us, like taking a full rest day, like we just, for both of us, we both said this. We're not gonna just like, a rest day would have been pointless for us because we would have been thinking about...
We weren't there to sightsee. We were there to get to Finisterre.
Yes. And we would have been thinking, oh my gosh, we could be walking right now. Or like if you were out trying to sightsee, like these are steps and miles that we could be doing to get us, further along our route. So...
And then if I had one last tip...
I know what it was that I was going to say.
Say it.
We were also limited because we were staying in private accommodations.
Yeah.
And so some days, like even though we didn't want to, we had to walk 18, 19, 20 miles.
To have a private bathroom.
Yes.
Yep. If I could give anyone one tip that made things easier for me, kind of being the one that organized everything and handled everything is, and this sounds like common sense, but I would see people all the time just shuffling through their telephone. Just make one folder on your phone for all your Camino apps. So I had a folder called Camino. That makes sense, right? And it had my Boing Camino app that I used. I used the Wise Pilgrim app because you get a little bit of different information from all of them. I used Far Out because I like the navigation a little bit better. That's primarily a North American app. So.
And I had Camino Ninja.
She had Camino Ninja. And they all provided some level of value, and I had them all in the same folder. I had a units conversion app so that I could convert units, whatever it might be, distance or whatever. I had the Google Translate app. You're gonna want to have the Google Translate app. So I had them all in one folder so that it was just always, and I put it right on the front page of my phone. Just click on the folder, everything you need is there. Organization is your friend when you're doing this journey.
One last thing that I'll say is, because we never did say this, and it's going to make me a little bit emotional to say it. Thank you, everybody that watched our videos. If you get to this point now, I'm probably too little too late, but to everybody that commented, even the people that had nasty things to say to us.
I'm sure were some.
Yes. The engagement was so nice. The support was incredible. It just, it was a lot of work for Jason to put the videos out, editing every single day after long days of walking. But I know that I'm going to be grateful to have that in the future to go and watch. But thank you to all of you for following along with us and supporting us. So one last thing. I know you thought you were closing it out, but what do you want to say about how you felt about continuing the Finisterre? Once we get to Santiago and I'm like, we got to keep going. How did you feel about that? And how did you feel once you got to Finisterre? Yep. So we started this conversation when we were back in Santiago after walking to Finisterre, and we were sitting at the airport and we started talking about this, and the conversation went a little haywire. So that never got published. Yeah. So I didn't hide my feelings about that. No, and that's fine. I was not excited about walking to the coast. Arriving in Santiago was exciting, but it was, for me personally, it was nothing compared to arriving at the coast.
Arriving at the coast was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, as you're walking into the town of sea, you start to see the ocean, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is like, we are somewhere now. We have made it somewhere. And then you start getting into Finisterre on your last day, and you're walking along the ocean, and it's like the water's like the Caribbean, and it's beautiful. It's
unbelievable. I nothing could have prepared me. I was not expecting it, but it was much more. It still is an emotional thing for me to think about, and I don't know. I'm speaking for myself. I don't think I've fully emotionally processed. Like, if we had to do it all over again, we had to get back to Santiago the day that we walked to Finisterre, because we had a flight back to Madrid. We were going home. If we had to do it all over again, we probably would have stayed there a day.
I think so.
And for us, like, the weather was beautiful. It was perfect. But it was, and not that either one of us, I wasn't in a hurry, but we were on a time frame.
We had bought tickets to come home.
Right. So and we had to, get back to, we had to walk the 2 miles, back to.
From the boot.
Right. Back into town to get a taxi back to Santiago. And the taxi back to Santiago was an hour.
Yep. And it cost €90 to get a taxi back to Santiago.
Which, if you take the bus, it's 3 hours to get back to Santiago.
Yeah, it was an extra 2 hours to take the bus, and I didn't want to do that.
So absolutely, it was worth it. I'm so glad that we did it. It was only, 3 extra days?
4.
Oh, it was 4.
Yeah.
4 extra days.
You could there's a route you could do where you do it in 3 days, but it's 18 miles a day. So we did it in 4 days. The last 2 days were 10 miles. So I would definitely recommend going to Finisterre.
I would absolutely 100% suggest going to Finisterre.
Unpopular opinion, I think that was more impactful to us than arriving at the church. So
for us it was. Yep. Absolutely. It was, like I said, it was much more of a moving experience for me getting to the coast than it was arriving at the church in Santiago.
All right, so if you are still watching 45 minutes into this, I think it's 45 minutes, I'm just guessing.
Edit it down.
In August, we're going to be doing the West Highland Way. We're going to go southbound and northbound. We're going to start in Glasgow, or whatever the city is by Glasgow, and it's going to be 7 days, and we're going to do more videos.
Yeah, so
if you're not sick of us, follow along.
Right. Buen Camino.
Buen Camino.